Yo, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Blur Confidential. We back in it again, trying to take this thing one day at a time while we in quarantine. I'm James, aka Anonymous Rex, is what we were going with the last episode,
Mm-hmm.
and we got who we got next.
Well, I'll go ahead and hop in. I'm Q, just simply Q. That's fine. Go ahead, man. What you got? What's our third compadre?
First name Johnny, last name Johnny. Call me Johnny.
So, Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny. That sounds like
Johnny.
somebody. That sounds like somebody who used to work like at an old speakeasy. Yo, man, I'm looking for Johnny, man. I heard he got some supplies for me.
The guy that always holds the pocket watch that doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
A mobster, that's what he is. A pure mobster.
Oh man, what's good with y'all this week?
Oh man, not a whole lot. Just another week in the hole, y'all. Another week in the hole. Same old.
Yeah, it has been, man. Look,
man,
this quarantine stuff is for the birds.
Let's just be real about it.
This ain't the life that I was looking for.
No,
man. The kids are stir crazy. I'm stir crazy. I mean, like, we doing like random stuff, like trying to vacuum the yard and crap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
any reason to go outside?
Like gardening and crap. Like nobody.
I'm about to go work somebody's like farm. Like, I'm gonna go throw some hay bales. Like, it's gonna be worth 100 degrees after a while. It was 6 o'clock. It was 6:30, and it was 99 degrees outside still.
Dude, yeah.
Not only is the earth against us, everything is against us at this point.
What? I think the entire world. I don't know what's going on. There's a theory out there that some time traveling group keeps coming back and they keep messing things up, and another thing happens. But I swear, the Earth is trying to just take us out, man. It's somebody.
Man.
It's trying to get us somewhere. That's all.
Mother Nature is pulling her own Thanos snap right now. She's about to snap half of this world out of existence in a heartbeat. There is pink snow. Where is this at? It's not. Is it in the Alps? There's pink snow, and the scientists are saying that ain't good.
Of course.
And what's funny, it's like normally scientists have some scientific explanation as to why. Now you might not understand it, but it's an explanation nonetheless. Like this whole COVID thing, they're like, okay, we don't know anything about it, but we'll just call it COVID-19. But yeah, we have no idea what it is. We don't know really how it spreads. We don't know. And it's like, it's a little unnerving because I was like, somebody, like, even if it's not true, somebody tell me some scientific jargon just to blow my mind, so to give me a little bit of comfort. But like, no one knows.
I can do more to scare you, though.
I
can't comfort you, but I can do more to scare you.
Oh, no. Here we go.
So they found the first case of COVID in an animal, and it's a domesticated animal at that.
A cat.
I think, hold on, it may have been the dog, but...
Is it Scooby?
It may have been Scooby. It's either him or Heathcliff, one of the two. Like, they a bunch of freeloaders either way, so, I mean one of them got it.
They eat all that junk food, man, so, we knew something was in them Scooby snacks.
Exactly.
But nah, man, back to your point. It's pretty bad if scientists say the fuck I know as their description.
Exactly.
The hell if I know? I don't know.
Exactly.
They sat up there and they literally said, "Why you asking me?"
I mean, it's like
you're the further most expert on diseases and vaccines. It was like, what the hell they got to do with me?
And can you guys just imagine?
Everything, Mike.
You guys just imagine, here's Dr. Blerkenstein with, the latest explanation. He turns around in his office chair with a bunch of books that no one knows what they are in the background. And it's like, I don't know.
Hey,
what?
Hey, it's just fucked up, y'all. It's really messed up out here. Oh, I don't know why y'all came to me for answers. I'm just here to tell you, it's really messed up out here.
Why you come to me then? So you didn't listen to me in the first place. I told you to wear a mask. You didn't want to wear a mask. Now you get upset. President won't wear a mask. Now guess what?
Oh,
He showed up in the
Oh,
news. He got a mask on. So why you asking me
oh,
questions about this? And then on top of all of that, when I told you to stay at home, you want to go outside.
mm,
You want to go outside. You know what outside look like. You know outside ain't no good for you. And I told you this. But then you showed up outside. And guess
mm,
what? Everybody in Florida got the pandemic. Everybody got COVID just because you want to go shake tail on the beach. And
hey,
then you want to open up an indoor pool in Atlanta. Why? So you go shake some tail and pass Corona out?
yeah,
They ain't got no chlorine in that water. That water
man.
ain't filtrated. It
Why?
don't filter out. It is a cesspool, and all you doing is bumping and grinding in a pool so you can get coronavirus.
Look,
Corona one.
man. Look. I don't even have any
here's to you,
explanation
black
for
guy.
it, man.
I told you. I told you. I can't comfort you. I told you this. I already told you this. I can't comfort you,
Oh
but I
yeah,
can
and
only
what?
make it worse.
Oh,
Like,
oh, and to add to the civil unrest, did you guys read about the French bus driver that got beat to death for
no.
telling
No.
passengers to a French bus driver got beat to death for telling his passengers to put on a mask.
Is it that serious? Like, okay, all right, look, you know
Man,
what?
I don't know.
All right, nice cue is about to come off because I just got
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
Okay, why
I got
is the
solutions.
mask? Because okay, I'm one of those things. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier, and I remember there was a situation in Florida.
Hold on, Q. I gotta put this out here real quick too.
Okay.
Anybody that's listening to this, if y'all ain't wearing a mask, can you please send an email to blurredconfidential@gmail.com and tell us your understanding and your reasoning for not doing so?
Yeah.
I will be happy to read that out loud.
And please provide sources. Don't just say, "Oh, because they is after us." Who the hell is they? I don't know them. You know,
It's the gray. It's the grays. It's the
Yeah.
gray. It's the gray aliens. It ain't the white aliens. It's the gray aliens. It's the
Yeah.
men in black aliens, not the regular aliens, but the men in black aliens. What? Just
It's just it
okay.
gets crazy after a while because now you start. But here's the thing: they had a dude. It was a video that went viral. And one, it was already interesting because the dude was like, "Hey, we've been, wearing a shirt that says been ruling the world since 1776." Okay, we get
Oh
where you
god.
go. We know where you're going with that. I see what you did there. That's fine. But this old lady who would be more susceptible to COVID or anything, disease in general, and she just asked politely, "Young man, can you please put your mask on?" And he gets belligerent. And then some dude
What?
comes, yes, some dude comes to her defense and said, "Hey man, she's asking to put a mask on." And he starts going off talking about, "I feel threatened. Back up." And I said, in my mind, the only thing I thought about
Get out of
was,
here! Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just saying, the only thing I thought about was Mike Tyson's greatest quote ever. Huh. Everybody got a plan till they get punched in the face, huh? And I just thought about that. I was like,
That is so true.
I have come to this conclusion that some people, quite a few, need a good stomping for them to get right. They just like they come in mad and just boom, one good one. And
It's out of nowhere.
and I also think you can't sue, you can't press charges, you can't do none of that. You just lost. Get your life together. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
We are living in the purge.
But no, dog, I just think about this. They because you got a lot of slow people. I hate to say slow people. You got a lot of people with alternative thoughts. We'll say that.
They have mental handicaps.
Yeah. And for some
We're gonna go with
reason,
mental handicaps.
they feel a mask is going to kill them. That's number one. And they'll refuse to do it because it's mandated. And so I'm thinking, is risking your life worth proving a point? Yes or no? That's like if some reason someone came out and said, "You know what, condoms may or may not protect against disease. We don't know. There's a good chance it could though." And then instead, you like, you know what? I'm going in naked. Screw what they say. If I get it,
I
I get
don't
it.
like them. They don't feel right, and I'm taking the risk.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
You know, I'm just saying.
I feel you. Like I'm right there. Yeah, I feel you. But you might want to put it out.
All I can say is the more I read the news, the less my faith in humanity is. That's all I have to say. Aliens, where the heck are you at? And are you selling tickets? That's all I want
I don't.
to know.
Do you need an indentured servant? Do you need an indentured servant? Because I'm signing up.
Oh my
I'll
god.
work it off for the next 5 years as long as I ain't got to be
Oh,
here, like
oh
anywhere
my
but here.
god.
Man,
These
first of
guys,
all,
man.
Help
Johnny,
me, Tom Cruise.
honestly, Johnny, I think I've lost faith in humanity a long time ago. Like when you start
Man, a
growing up, and
long time ago.
I don't know, man. People were weird, man. It kind of goes with that. What's the saying from Men in Black? The man is smart, but people are
People
dumb.
are
Was it dumb?
dumb, cruel animals or
Cruel
something like
animals, something
that.
along those lines.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
oh man, but
I know, and it was just he's exactly right.
more of the story. Please wear a mask. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going. If you can't do it, just don't go. Just order in. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Order what you need. We got all the services.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, this is worse.
Or pay a crackhead. Sorry.
I mean, they do it. Hey, last time. Hey, I mean, a fiend will change a whole transmission for a case. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And pack cool.
Yo, man. But other than that, it has been weird keeping the kids. Now the kids they just want to find any reason to leave the house. And I say, yeah, I'm about to go to the store, go grocery shop. Oh, can we come with you? Say, y'all usually don't like doing this. Well, so why all of a sudden you want to come grocery shopping with me? So, one, I don't like bringing children to grocery shop anyway because it adds at least another hour to your experience.
Oh my gosh, minimum. Minimum.
But yeah, man, I'm gonna have to start figuring out some things for them to do. I'm bring them to the track and make them run around, and that way they won't ever want to go outside for a while.
Ever. Yeah, that's what we've been doing, man. We've been taking them on runs with us and wearing them out. And, and then actually there's a website. I have to pull it up actually, but it's a subscription based service, but bi-weekly they send STEM projects for kids.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And yeah,
I think one is called Kiwi or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they make a lot of STEM based kits from like everything from like pre-K all the way up to like high school level type stuff. So
okay,
they have a lot of good stuff.
So definitely worth checking out. You know.
Yeah, like they even make like they even had one where you're making pumps so you can see buoyancy, pressure levels, things of that nature. Like so,
things
like
that will actually be applicable to the real world and can help you get a job. Sorry.
You will get your engineer pay. You will get your engineer pay. I will tell you that.
Oh man, but we all know everyone doesn't have the aptitude to be. Well, I'm just saying, everybody's not gonna be an engineer or a doctor or anything STEM related. Like you go back, we all knew those kids were like, "Yep, that's an artist right there."
Yeah, maybe. But I will say though, like the one thing that I wish they would bring back into more schools, I still think is one of the coolest things that has ever been done in schools. It's still that's what like the A&M schools before the agricultural schools, like the trades. So you got welding, you have mechanical engine. Like I didn't realize it, but some of those kids were basically starting their careers in mechanical engineering, whether they thought they can make it through college or not. They were already started on that process for that.
Yeah, there were some technician classes they offered. Our school did that with what they called the career center.
Yeah, we had that. So we had one. We had to drive off, like because it was for the county itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 4 schools that shared it. And since we're in the middle, like for those schools that were closer to the middle of nowhere, ours was like next to the next largest city. But with those 4 or 5 schools, all 4 of those schools came to that center at the same time I think it was 3 days out of the week.
Votech.
Yep, Votech. Yep. Votech. But that was cool.
Now, James, will this program help people?
Oh, it will help the
Nope,
masses.
nope, we can't
A
do
lot
it.
of people.
Nope, can't afford it.
Oh, the hell you
and,
would.
and that was the thing I was getting at, because it's just like, okay, you got mechanical engineers who actually, because I come from that, in the oil and gas industry, but that's just one small piece of the puzzle. You still have to have technicians to implement those changes that the mechanical engineers design.
Yep.
And so, like, I mean, hydraulics, pneumatics, electrical, electronics. I mean, all these things that are in high demand, right? Robotics, where are all these manufacturing, facilities going to? Automation, PLC controls, oh, there you go. Yeah, there's a link there. But,
Yeah, that's enough. I dropped the link in for that.
but there's definitely opportunities out there. But just as you were as you were mentioning, Q, it's like not in the budget.
Nope. How we gonna pay for
can't have
that?
it.
It's actually funny.
Exactly.
It's actually funny. So I don't even why we segued into this, but it's actually funny. I remember I actually made a guy I worked with. I actually made a claim on why making 2-year schools almost completely free, paid through the county, and why 4-year schools should actually be so reduced tuition that someone, if they chose to work during that time, it's very affordable. And of course, he argued. It was like, well, what about this and what about that? And I kind of pointed to him. I was like, you realize a lot of these schools cost as much as, one is because the guaranteed loans that were created. That's number one. Number two, they actually reduced the amount of money that the state will provide to these schools, which then increases the necessity of loans to even function. And I say there's a whole historical thing. I'm weird that when I do make points to people, I try to go through the historical relevancy to try to then drive the home point.
Sure.
And at the end, he still said, well, what about the person who paid all their loans off? And I say, what about them? They did it. Hooray for them. I said, they are exceptional because that's not the norm. So I'm just saying, it was just interesting.
That's not the norm.
But I mean, think about it this way: you got a person that's paid off all their loans. There's always going to be somebody that paid off their loans.
Always, this always.
If they admit it, it's you can't get around it.
Yeah.
If they release the program right now today, somebody's going to reap the benefits of that program where others may not.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit and you can revel in the fact that you've paid your debts off. May have been $40,000 back in 1992, which today would equivalent, like it would be close to 65,000.
Actually,
So
less, man, because I think it did conversion 30 some. I want to say like 35,000 is the equivalent of 80,000 now.
So even more. So like you at the end of the day, somebody has paid that debt. Yes, thank you. You've done your due diligence. You did everything that you were asked to do, that you were responsible for. That was what you were responsible for. Cool. Now, should that have been free or at a reduced cost at that time when you were in school? Absolutely. But that's why you can champion it on the other side and say, hey, I'm fighting for this cause because I believe that I should have been able to take advantage of something like that years ago where somebody else shouldn't have to deal with it today.
Yeah.
So,
and that's always the argument that I hear is that, and this is why a lot of things don't usually get done, is because you'll have some old head come and tell you, well, back in my day, I had to walk 35 miles barefoot.
I don't care. I don't care. Tell me where I asked you to make me care.
Yeah. With wolves gnawing at my feet.
Oh.
That type of stuff.
Naked.
Can I see your scars?
Yeah. And so you gotta ask him, you like, you did? Should that have happened? No, exactly. There you go. Now we're back on track.
We're talking about fixing things.
Yeah.
All you want to tell me about how bad you had it. Well, okay, cool. Let's fix it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, this is. Never mind. That's funny. Now I could say this. One of the good things about being quote unquote quarantine. We're not technically quarantined. We're still technically not in shelter in place either. Limit your exposure to
We're in
outdoors and
limbo.
people. There you go. I
We're
don't
in
know what we're in.
limbo. No, better. We're in purgatory.
There you go.
It's not good. It's not bad. We're waiting.
We're here. That's it. But I did get you do get to watch movies, and of course there are other series coming up. One I did watch a new movie called The Old Guard. Just came out on
Yeah.
Netflix. I don't know if anybody here got to see it yet or is aware of it.
Interesting fact.
Mhm.
The director of that movie is black,
Oh, really?
and she is the first black director to direct a comic book. First black female to direct a comic book movie. And they're already talking about it. It comes from a book, but it's also a series of books, and they're looking at doing possibly a second movie already.
I mean, the way it
Oh,
ended,
wow.
I can see that. It ended with like a cliffhanger. But not really a cliffhanger,
I
but
hadn't seen
like,
it yet.
hey,
That was
what's next?
I want to ask y'all about if y'all had seen it, but
Yeah.
that's my next thing
Yeah.
that I
did
plan
see
on
it.
watching.
So what's the name of it?
The Old Guard. So Netflix.
And I mean,
Oh, I think we started watching that before we came on here. Gotcha. Okay.
yeah. So the general premise is
I heard it was good.
Yeah,
And Charlize Theron is in it, so like I ain't
Yeah.
mad at it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Now the only thing I started thinking about after watching this, and I think it was just a lot of action movies. Now I think about it. I brought this point to a buddy of mine. I said, "You realize after the Lord of the Rings films don't really have their own themes anymore.
Yeah.
Like for instance, if I were to put a playlist on and I played you certain themes, you can point out RoboCop's theme, Batman '89, Star Wars, either the overall theme or the Emperor's March, Jurassic Park, etc. Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
But since the Lord of the Rings on, do films really put all that effort into themes for their films or a soundtrack of their film outside of just having outside artists coming in and just make hip hop music or something like that for it, or just regular music?
So are you asking? Because this is what I'm taking from it. From some of the stuff that you named, is the storytelling is not there. So like the storytelling and the world building is not there. They're basically taking somebody else's formula to basically drop their own wording into it, but it's just like the last one. It's just like the other series.
Well,
is that what you're saying?
Not exactly. So what I'm saying is that I think when it comes to filmmaking, not only is the story memorable, but everyone remembers the music from the movie. It's almost like a video game. Certain games you remember the music from it.
Right.
But is there a movie now, especially like action films, like for instance, example, we know the story of Terminator, yes. And if someone were to play it on their phone, the Terminator theme, be like, yep, that's Terminator 2.
Yeah.
But is there a movie now where they still do that? And it was funny because I was watching The Old Guard and they just put in like stock hip hop music. And I was like, that's interesting. I said, but there's no theme for this music. I mean, for this movie at all. Like the film is good, but the production as far as the music side, I think that has changed as time going on.
It doesn't match what they're trying to build, I guess, like what they're trying to portray.
To an extent, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the only movies that I can tell you where I feel that presence are in Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Christopher Nolan movies or something where the world is so epic, it deserves something grand to show how big it truly is.
Yeah.
So that's why when you look at The Lord of the Rings, when you're looking at this massive world and everything that encompasses it, it's that makes you think of something on a grand scale for like grand orchestra, where you have the drums beating in the background that got the beat, that just got everything moving, and then you start hearing horns come in, all brass instruments.
John Williams.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. John Williams, or the guy that did RoboCop and Starship Troopers.
Yep.
Now think about that also. The last thing that I can think of that took real advantage of like using like that music as a mood, like to kind of get you into the mood of what's actually happening was Game of Thrones. That was the biggest thing that I can think of recently
Mm-hmm.
that I've heard something like that. But once again, it's this world that you're trying to build and show how massive and how grand this land is. It's like the only thing you can do for that is to put something that overarching, like that powerful into it, like as
Yeah.
far as the music goes.
I don't know. It was just something that popped up to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Because it was just like a random, scene where they're walking, and then they got I couldn't remember who the artist was, but it, like I said, it was some rap music in the back. I was like, "Huh, interesting. That's an interesting place for this." That type of stuff.
Yeah, I can see it happening in some things. So, like for instance, it's really hip hop has really become a thing for a lot of action scenes in a way, and
Mhm.
especially in a lot of Asian culture.
Oh
So
yeah,
think
hip hop
about it.
started taking off over there.
Right. Some of these TV shows with all these animes are actually using hip hop music for their cut scenes, for their like their fight scenes and everything. And it gets you into it because a lot of it is original. Like it ain't there's nothing that's really used that's been mass produced already for like some rapper's album or something like that.
Hmm.
Or there was one somebody was telling me about that they essentially played an R&B song from a group here. I'm not sure if it was 112, but it was basically their
Oh.
outro song, is what it
Oh
was,
wow.
or something like that. Which I was thought like, okay, like I
Yeah,
guess
I
they
mean,
didn't think anybody would notice, but okay,
yeah,
nobody
hey.
over there would know, so
Wait,
it ain't no thing.
hold on, they didn't pop on cookies and cream, huh?
Oh, see, that was the song that was just running through my head right now. Peaches and Cream
There you go.
was that was the song that literally just went through my head when I said 112.
Yeah.
Slim's squeaky ass voice.
Can you
Oh my
imagine all of a
Oh, but
sudden?
I ain't going into it. Right.
Yeah.
It's the S, the L, the I,
Oh
the M.
As people get splashed on the screen, you're like, "Yep, this fits."
Right. Like, I gotta have it. No, it's all in my head. Okay.
Hey man, hey, that went hard.
So,
You,
maybe. So, maybe you can incorporate that into a fight scene. I don't know. It is what it
I'm
is.
sure somebody could. Yeah, a true artist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The directing, the direction in this just would have to stop. I just wouldn't know where to take it. But like you'll see a lot of that in like some of the newer animes where they're taking advantage of hip hop as far as them like taking so well to the culture that we have anyway. You
Hmm.
got literal like Filipinos and I forgot where the other two guys came from. They were literally rapping in English but can barely speak the language, but
Wait,
sound
what?
Uh,
excellent.
I don't
I
know
gotta
who's.
find it.
It's not.
I'm gonna find it.
Shoot. Hold up.
I got all the internets right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to look for now. Hold on. Let me see. Damn. Because I think I kind of know who you're talking about.
It was because he had a video that came out about 4 or 5 years ago, about 5 6 years ago, of him rapping in like the English sounded like spot on. It was like, but they said all he did was listen to rap music, and he rapped that way.
Really?
So yeah, like he listened to a lot of rap music. He listened to a lot of English like TV, and he picked up his rap style and he kind of ran with it.
Dang.
Okay. Hey
I'm gonna
man.
find the guy.
Oh, it's one dude. Okay, I thought it was a duo. Okay, never mind.
No,
Because I
this is
remember
one guy.
there was one duo, and they rapped all in their native language, and I'm like, man, it sounds like they going hard, and I don't understand anything they're saying,
Anything
but
they're saying.
Right.
but it was like one of my favorite produced DJ Premier produced it, so I was like, you know what, I just got to listen to the music. So, but nah, man. Other than that, let's see what else we came. Oh, The Boys. trailer finally came out. Boys season 2. Did y'all watch season 1?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay, I thought I had to disown you, but
I do that on a regular basis to everybody.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I thought about rewatching it though. I have this habit that every time a new season or something decides to come out, I rewatch the first season,
Rewatch it.
the prior
Yeah.
season.
Make sure you didn't miss anything from that last go round, just to kind of get you pumped up again. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. When was the last? All right, so Stranger Things aired season 3.
That was last year, I believe, huh?
Yeah, it was last year. When they did that, I was like already instantly was thinking about like, oh God, like you showed them in Russia, they called them the American. Who are they talking about? Who didn't I see at the end of this season? Only thing I can think of got to be Hopper. They pulled him out. They got a demagogue in the basement.
Yep.
Like they got to look. If they ain't got it already, guess what? Damn it, they ain't getting it.
It's been
And
out
they should have
for
been called
almost
up
a
already.
year, man. Come
Look,
on.
you done already passed the threshold.
Yeah.
So you ain't got long for me because I don't care about spoilers. You can tell me anything. If I still want to see it, I'm going to see it. So let's go with it.
I never understood that. Like, if it's a good show, you're gonna watch it anyway.
Surprise me! I want the surprise. All right,
I don't care if it's good as fits. I'm gonna enjoy it anyway. But I'm the type of person who will watch a spoiler review before I go see anything, just to say, okay, that's cool. Let me go look at it anyway. But anyways, continue, Jay.
So they dropped. All right, so I'm looking at it here, and they dropped Stranger Things 3 July 4th of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting ready to come around again for the next season, which I think it should be like in October or something like that. I think they're going with that another one because the one before Stranger Things 2, it was kind of right around Halloween because they did the whole Ghostbusters thing for the first 2 episodes or so.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I mean, honestly, when this, like, knowing that they were coming with that 4th one, the moment they dropped the news in it, I started back at episode number 1, and I'm finna go run seasons 1 through 3 all over again.
Yeah.
I've done that on 4 occasions in the last year. That dropped July 4th of last year.
Yep.
I've done that 4 times in the year's time before July 4th of this year.
Hey, I've done it before on a lot of different shows because once you leave, if you watch a show and then you leave it for a while, you find out that something else is coming. Like, it's nothing to go rewatch a show and you like, oh man, I don't remember that part, or hey, I didn't recognize that. I did that with I do this annually, call me weird or whatever. I watch Firefly almost every year. Just go through the seasons. And there's still times where you'll find, different things. It's actually funny. I'll tell people this. Firefly is the good version of a Han Solo film or Han Solo series.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah, I would say Malcolm Reynolds is basically Han Solo, a younger version. But you know what? I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that I've done it with that. I've rewatched because right now we're currently going back over the Umbrella Academy because season 2 is supposed to be dropping here soon.
I'm about to do that one too. Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's one of those things you go back over and you're like, huh. I'm looking at it in hindsight. Like, okay, I remember I watched it first, and you're like, oh, I just realized what that character was talking about when they said this, or oh, hey, I didn't recognize that in the background. Because a lot of those good shows, if you look in what's going on behind the characters, you'll see different things as well. So,
right, yeah, I tend to do the same thing with Star Wars. Even though I've watched it for the 17,000th time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's just do a marathon.
So speaking of that in particular, you were telling us this the other day, Johnny. What's going on with it being in the theaters again?
Oh yeah, so yeah, I was strolling through the interwebs and somehow or some way, Star Wars, even after all these years, still hitting like record numbers. I mean, it's insane. Not exactly sure whose idea it was.
Wait, hold on. Does Disney know about it?
They know. Oh, they know.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. But think about it for a moment. This movie has been around longer than, I mean, heck, all of us been alive.
Yeah. I think what,
And
81?
yeah, so around there. And so
They say 23 years ago. Because it was the Empire Strikes Back.
1980. I'm sorry. 77, 80, and 83. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, for it to still have such an impact today as it did all those years ago says a lot about the quality of the film and the ability for George Lucas, as crazy as he is, to build an entire universe, based on that. But, at the same time, there's also, authors and other, individuals who, expand the lore.
Yeah, because I want to say there was a lady who penned Empire, and she ended up passing away before it was actually greenlit. And then I can't remember who the other guy is. He came in and went over her script, and the only thing he changed was the whole. We shouldn't have to give a spoiler. The whole Darth Vader being Anakin. Like, if we got to give a spoiler for a 40-year-old film, I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly.
Oh my god!
But it was a prime example, and it's like I tell people, I love George Lucas with what he was able to do. But at that time, George realized, and I would say this: George is not the greatest writer. He's not.
No.
He's not. He's not the greatest director. He's best playing the producer role and helping to direct certain things, but he needs other people.
Aspects.
Yeah. He needs other strong people there with him. This is why Indiana Jones was so great, because Steven Spielberg, plenty of times, George will say, "Hey, yeah, I want Indiana to have powers." Shut up, George. Go sit down. No, George, we're not putting aliens in this movie. Then he finally.
He's an archaeologist. He's an archaeologist with superpowers.
Yeah, it's like
he should have aliens.
Can somebody look, George? Can somebody go put him in his trailer?
Yeah.
George, and stay there.
George, here's a juice box. Go sit in the corner. That's. But Empire, I was, to this day, I say Empire is the best sequel of all time of any film series.
But here's the thing: nobody's asking the right questions right now.
All right, go ahead.
I'm highly disappointed in you both.
We're probably beating around it, but go ahead.
It was at the box office, right? Who was at the box office?
That is a good question.
Where have you been for the last 4 months? Who was at the box office, and how did it top the box office again after 23 years?
Who's going to the movies? Who's going to the movies to make this happen? I'm guessing that's the question.
That's the question.
That is a great question, and I have zero answers.
There were 36 people in the U.S. that were able to go to the movies, and they were the ones that run the projector in the first place.
Yep.
That was it. And they hit number one from there.
Yes.
How many times can we run this back to back? Well, ain't nobody in here. What time we close? 9. What time we open tomorrow? 12. All right. 12 to 9 every day. Let's do it.
Got it.
4 months.
Hey, man.
My point.
All great questions. No, I don't have one.
No explanation.
No, at
all. Tell you.
I just wanted to make sure I put it out there.
Hey, I thought about it though, but I was like, okay, we just gonna move past that point. That's just details.
I guess. I, I thought it was a part of the minutia.
500,000. Wow.
Yeah, all taking chances, boy.
Roll the old dice.
I guess everybody feel bulletproof before they're not bulletproof anymore, huh?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, See, here's the thing. It's not a problem before until it becomes a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure is. You can't see me nodding my head
Oh
right
God, what was that movie? Oh man.
What was that?
Oh my gosh, Bruce Willis, Aliens, End of the World,
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element?
Planet, Fifth Element. Yes.
Fifth Element, baby. In fact, I need to go find out where that's at right now.
It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is or not. But yeah, that's a classic too, man.
Once again, I got the internet at my fingertip. And let me check the internets.
Going nuts.
Hey man,
Fifth Element.
Fifth, not fifth.
Yeah,
Fifth.
Filth.
That sounds like a whole nother movie.
Give me that. I need that. I need a filth. I need a filth for that Hennessy. And I need to go ahead and go get the Fifth Element.
All right, James, sound like somebody's uncle there.
Well, technically, I am somebody's uncle, so yeah.
All you need is a cigarette. A cigarette and a brown bag. Yep.
I got them in hand right now.
Now you gotta put a brown paper bag over the glass. Then you really in the house.
I can put a towel over the glass right now if you need me to.
Oh my gosh, how do we get to this point?
You just showed up.
Hey,
that's all it takes. You just got to show up.
Man. I don't even know what we're talking about.
I don't know. We were Star Wars. There you go.
And Star Wars and box office.
Yeah.
And things and things.
Hey, see, folks out here risking it all over to watch a film. I love Star Wars too, but think about that.
Let me ask you this then. Oh, it looks like Johnny died, so he had to go for the wire. He had to go get his jumper cables.
Hey, that's that technology.
So let me ask y'all this: did y'all hear? Did y'all check out the live event today from Ubisoft? Oh, yeah, Ubisoft.
Yeah, no, I read up on it, but I didn't get to see the live event though.
I did, but I will tell you guys what I was trying to do. I've been trying for the past week to finish Hamilton. I can't get into it. Maybe it's me. I'm sorry. But I'm not a musical person. I think that's what stumps me.
I think the biggest. Think about it.
I love history.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It might be an individual thing. It more than likely can be. But if you, the one thing that caught me and the one thing I enjoyed about it was that it's not a traditional musical. This ain't your
no,
it ain't none of that. No. This is like your hip hop inspired because the majority of the cast is black or people of color in the first place. You can count 6 white people, and one of them is the king. So one of them is not George Washington. I can tell you that much. George Washington is this bright skinned brother, big bald headed bright skinned brother that's playing George Washington.
So it's kind of more like man, I don't know. I'm gonna sit y'all back with this. We'll see if y'all remember when Beyonce's first acting.
I'm out. I'm already out.
Yeah.
I'm already out.
All right.
If it ain't Kelly Rowland, we can't talk about it. So I'm already out.
Do y'all remember when she made Carmen, or they remade Carmen, and it was her and Mekhi Phifer?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yes. So is it a better version of that?
Hell yeah, because I don't remember that.
Don't you dare disrespect our Queen Bey on this Al Gore's internet.
Look, let me
That's
tell
not
you
his
something.
name.
Let me tell you something. They can shut this whole thing down right now for that one statement that I just made, and I will feel fine tomorrow. You know how easy it is to throw up another one of these?
Hey.
Let's do shut it down. Shut it all down. Let's do it now. You in the Bayhive, come for me. Don't care. Not my taste. Not my, I
Mm-mm-mm.
I don't like that one.
Hey man, I do remember
She
that
do
though.
good
That's when.
things. She do great things, but great philanthropist.
I mean, her acting is there's more to be desired. To say that, I remember that.
Great entertainer. She
Um,
is very entertaining.
she was a smart guy for all those people who grew up with that. And I
She
think,
was.
she had that movie with Idris Elba, and
She
the white,
did.
yeah, the white chick
Don't know nothing
was trying
about it.
to, the white chick was
Oh
trying
yeah.
to
Oh
get
yeah. Yeah.
get her ankles knocked loose by Idris. I can't remember
Oh
the
yeah.
name
Yeah.
of the movie though.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Obsessed. There we go.
She was trying to get them feet in the ceiling fans.
Hey
Got it.
man, yeah man, the footprints on the ceiling. You know what I mean? But anyways,
Yeah. Got it. I think I understand now. I think I understand.
but
I
no,
still don't get it.
Ubisoft. There you go. You were talking about Ubisoft.
Yeah.
So if y'all ain't seen it yet, y'all need to go check out that gameplay that they did
Was it
with
Valhalla?
Watch Dogs.
Oh, okay.
Watch Dogs, the new one, the third one that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, it was really intuitive. Like
Really?
a lot of the play that they had was like they showed the different paths that you can take with every single character. So in the first Watch Dogs, you essentially play the protagonist in that game. It's the one guy. And Johnny, did you play Watch Dogs 2? Or did y'all both play Watch Dogs 2?
Yeah,
No, but I did
about
see it was
yeah.
free online, so I can yeah, I
It's
want to say it was
it's
free. Yeah, it was free online as far as I know.
it's worth playing. Yes, free
So
online.
check this out. Speaking of free, so on top of that, they had the gameplay of all that as one of the things that they did. It looks really good. So the thing about it is, you can walk about the city, you can walk about London, and you can recruit people for the cause. Not
Okay.
only can you do that, but you play as them and you play out their story. You can ask a cop and convince them. Now, it might take some work to do it, but you can convince them to join the cause. And one of the groups that took over the city to help handle the law enforcement of London, they played one version of someone trying to get into their headquarters so they can get intel on one of the guys so they can get dirt on them or whatever. They
Uh-huh.
played it from the perspective of one of the guys who was just a brute, basically. He fought his way in. They had a hacker who hacked the drones to get into the place so that she can get eyes and ears on everything. But then they convinced one of the officers, one of the security officers, to join their side.
Mm-hmm.
She walks right through the front door, no confrontation or anything else, because now she has access. So it plays out that entire system of all these different ways that you can play and
Oh
all
wow.
these people that you can recruit. You can recruit a construction worker. You can recruit a breakdancer on the street. You can recruit one of the guys that do parkour all across the top of the city buildings. You happen to catch up with one of them, you can recruit them in and use basically their skills to get away, to sneak into places. It was really good. On the other side of it, they had AMD work with them with um, I guess it was the Valhalla for
Assassin's
for the
Creed.
new for Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
So AMD also just released a new processor set.
Yeah.
So a new processor series. With that being the case, any current gen and new models that are coming out like now, the next gen processors
Mm-hmm.
comes with a copy of Valhalla.
Yeah, I did see
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah.
So if you're building a computer, this is about the best time to get it, especially if you're looking at getting that game
Right.
and having it ready to load the moment that it drops. Go ahead and get you one of these AMDs. I mean, it matches like performance spec for spec for a lot of it, if some of it barely edging out, but That's solid. I'm gonna do an AMD build. I'm actually looking at a processor now.
Yeah, I mean,
Right now.
Right
it's
now,
I,
I'm
I,
looking for that and a video card.
It's like I started reading up on Valhalla. Apparently, the rumors is they're trying to make it similar to The Witcher, but with like more. I guess you could say not. The combat's going to be slightly different and more intuitive. I guess you could say is how it's been described. So, um, one Witcher. If you haven't played The Witcher 3, it's a great game and it's fairly cheap now, even for the complete edition. Just $15. Just buy it and thank me later. But I think
Absolute.
the last Assassin's Creed game I played, I want to say it was Black Flag.
Oh, I love Black Flag.
Yeah, Black Flag was one of the greats, but the Odyssey was good. The one I thoroughly enjoyed was Origins.
Origins. See, I like 2.
That was the one in Egypt.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked Assassin's Creed 2. I think that's when they actually started being good. Like 1 was,
Right.
It looked good, but it was very repetitive. Like completely, like
yeah.
You
They
basically
got
say
that.
the same thing over and over. So
I think it was a new play style that they were kind of experimenting with, and it just ended
Because
up.
there was really nothing like it at that time.
No, I think it did end up becoming very, very repetitive.
You want to know what's crazy? What they compared that game to? What it would be the modern day version of?
What's that?
What's that?
Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
I remember them having that conversation. I was watching when they had G4 TV and everything back in the day.
Oh
You
man,
could-
you brought it back.
Taking it back,
Man. Man, golden gems of TV, baby. Like
man.
I
Like-
loved it.
My favorite show on there was Cold Monkeys.
Cold Monkeys, yep.
But
Man, but yeah,
I guess you could say the remakes of Prince of Persia. I can see because the old school Prince of Persia.
they need to do a new
like-
one. They legit need to do a new one right
Yep.
now.
I can see. I'm on a.
You can't say it wouldn't be a bad game. You
Nah,
can't. There's
that's
nothing
true.
in you that can. There's nothing in you that can say that.
That's true, but it all depends on who gets a hold of it because there's plenty of games they try to bring back, and when we got them, we were like, "What the hell is this?"
Mass
I'm
Effect.
telling you,
There you go.
the team that needs to needs to be the Assassin's Creed team. It's either them or something else that has a parkour style as far as movement goes. Because if anybody else touches it, it's gonna be trash.
Yeah.
Because you have to have experience in that type of motion and how he would get across, like even the levels, even the old school version. Like if you think about how that would play out now, think about that.
Because the old school, the very very first one was like 2D. Played to let me see if y'all remember this. You ever played a game called Flashback?
No, I haven't.
Okay, all right. But anyway, what about what's the name of that game? But anyways, they had like this weird kind of 2D type of gameplay, but at the time it was like cel shaded, and that's kind of how Prince of Persia played off originally. But
like Sunset Overdrive or something like that.
I'm trying to remember the name of the game. It's another game that not Outer Worlds, but Out of This World, I believe is what it is.
Or Outer Wilds, maybe. Nah, not that, huh? Because people getting that confused.
Yeah, they'll start thinking you talk about the movie. Another World. There we go. That was another game. It's kind of mirrored. Kind of the art design was mirrored behind. In fact, just send y'all these pictures so y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Drop it in the chat.
Yeah, you already know. You know, we're a place of information.
Right.
But anyways, that would be my only thing because so to kind of understand where I'm coming from, I started playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I'm not saying it's a bad game at all, but it's very very different. That's the main thing I can say.
different.
Very different. And
That's just different.
yeah, it's very, and I guess it's kind of, I don't know. It's like, so say you ever played a new remake and you want to like it, but you go in picturing the older game. And like, oh man,
Right.
Yeah.
I can't wait for them to see how they did with this part, and then we realize that part didn't come up at all. You like, or when they did do it, it was like unrecognizable, like at all. So
Right.
I guess I'm in between that aspect of it. Like I said, if this is Final Fantasy VII reimagining, then okay, cool. Or I guess that's
Sure.
why they called it remake. You know.
But yeah, that's a sticky one because when you decide that you want to remake something, it's you taking a real big risk that one, nobody's gonna like what you just made
Yeah.
because you decided to take your own spin with it. And the last person that did this failed miserably, but you still decided, I think I want to go in a different direction. Not in the direction that they went, but in my own direction, not the direction that was laid out for me though.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you set the expectation, right? Like, if they're remaking, I don't know, if they're remaking Battlefront or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, which we kind of did and screwed up. But anyway,
Yeah.
they remade
Yeah.
Battlefront, and those of us who played the original Battlefront had the expectation of, man, this is gonna be fire. Like, this is gonna be it. The game to rule them all, and then you get it, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's I think it's all about being mindful of the expectations that you set. I mean, if you're gonna bring it, you better bring it.
Exactly.
It's true.
And it's one of those things because I had this discussion with but y'all can even attest to this. I asked them this specific question. I said, think about most of the games that you like and love, most of the films that you like and love, comic books, etc. On average, someone you know that's close to you introduced you to it in some way, in some capacity. Like, for instance, gaming in general. We talked about it first episode. My father introduced it to me, and therefore I got into it. I didn't find it through osmosis. So when you do a remake, this is the issues you got to run with. One, we want to get new people to play it, of course, but how much do we have to respect the original fans of this medium? And so that becomes a question because it's like, yeah, we know the original people are going to buy it. If we do a 1-to-1, yeah, they're going to buy it. But is this good enough to bring in new people into this? And I still say yes, because if people played it then, because it tells me that you don't really trust in your product if you feel like you have to do drastic changes to either modernize it to where it's unrecognizable, or you have to change things up to where the game is not the same anymore, just to appeal to new people. I don't know. What y'all thoughts?
I'm gonna tell you like this. The only time it's acceptable to, I guess you can say, disregard the source material is when you've done this remake 4 times already. Okay, now it's time to go in a different direction. I mean, honestly, that's how the comic book industry works also.
Yeah.
You tell a story for a set amount of time. Sometimes that same story that you tell will be told for 4 years, may be told for 5 years. It might be only be told for a season, and which would only equate for 3 months out of the year.
Mhm.
But the thing about it is, there's that finite time that they have with that story because even if that story lasted for 15 years, it has to play out somewhere because there's gonna be a conclusion that's needed at that point.
Yeah. And,
Yep.
and
So
I would agree with that. But I think when it comes to, I would say when it comes to film and gaming, it's slightly different. Like comic books, there's very little resale value on comics. So yes, they do have to constantly change their stories to get an appeal. For instance, we had an example earlier. Empire still is breaking records. Story hasn't changed. It's a 40-year-old story. And even when they tried to modernize the story attached to that, it was not really well received. To the point that company who owns it now has to redirect. Damn, what did we do wrong? And so I think when it comes to
Everything. So fix it.
so I think when it comes to things like film, we love film and nostalgia. So the thing is like you don't change things that are really good in film. Like if someone said they're remaking Terminator today, which they did try with the last Terminator, people hated it. And it didn't do well.
No.
When people
and I would say,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say this. Like with that being the case, is some things deserve a remake, some needs to be left alone. Like for instance, I'm gonna give you the one big one that I could tell you from my childhood that does not need a remake, and I believe that the version that they made was not a remake.
Mm-hmm.
So, 1989 Batman,
yes,
Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Joker. You can't do that again. You are not going to get that level of a performance out of any two people again in that manner. I'm sorry. The Christopher Nolan version of it was great. Heath Ledger put his own spin on it. He basically took Jack Nicholson's Crazy Joker, which people, I'm going to go into that in a little bit. But you got the Jack Nicholson and you got the Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger, in his own right, is a freaking legend at this point. Whether he had died in that, whether he had truly died, like if he was still here today, he will still be a legend for that movie right now.
That's fair.
It's just like you have to look at people. People have to be really twisted or get to that point in order to play that character. Joaquin Phoenix, I think is a great performance in Joker too. Because at the end of that, by the end of the playing of that, I almost stood up and gave it a standing ovation in that movie. And actually, I did. I stood up for that one.
Only
at
movie
the end
that
of that one,
had you cheering for openly for the. He wasn't really the bad guy though. Now think about it. I don't picture him as the bad guy in that movie, but
he wasn't. He didn't want to be, but you know what? He embraced it because everything else started to go wrong. Mom died.
No, he killed mother.
Yeah, mother. Semantics.
Yeah, exactly.
She succumbed. She succumbed to death. So whether he did it, or somebody else did it, or nature did it, or God did it, she succumbed to death. So she died.
She kicked that oxygen habit.
Hey, look, there's one less person breathing oxygen today for all of us. So we're gonna go with it.
There you go. I mean,
hold what you got.
But there's a lot of there's a ton of films where we're like, no one's gonna remake Citizen Kane. It's like, no, don't do it. Don't remake the original Psycho. Stop remaking Halloween or adding Halloween to them.
I will say this: that last Halloween, that last one that just came out, I cheered for him so hard, but then, like, I wanted everybody to die. Everybody had to go. This is a fire sale. Everything must go. Ooh, when I saw some of them people get what they got, I'm like, you deserve that one.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have been around long enough for that. There's no way that you see him pop up out of nowhere and you try to start talking to him. Who?
Exactly.
What level? What level of psychopath are you at this point? Talk to me.
Hey.
But I will say it was a good movie because I did end up cheering for Jamie Lee, and when I tell you she came through clutch, oh boy, I saw 3 generations go after the same dude.
And unfortunately, they're remaking another one to come out this Halloween. No. That's what I'm saying. Like,
another Halloween?
Another Halloween is announced.
You know what? I'm done. I quit. That was the last one. Because this is what they said. All those other Halloweens in between doesn't matter because every last one of them bombed. It's the same thing they did with Terminator. Yeah. That last Terminator that came out, they try to basically retcon everything. They say, you know what? All those in the middle, they really don't exist. They might be alternate timelines, but they really don't exist. They really went from Terminator, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, skip a few to this last one,
Oh
and
man.
said those are the only ones that matter.
Yeah, and
Do you understand the wasted hours of people's lives that you just told, hey, everything that you did doesn't really
Not
matter?
yeah, all that stuff that's not canon anymore. We're gonna skip that. That was a fever dream. But but
It
but
was
that
110 fever dream.
yeah, but
You
that
almost you 2 steps from death.
but that becomes the ultimate problem because instead of trying to push new things, we will continue to get remakes, reimaginings. Any comic book we can get our hands on is going to get adapted to film. It's it's going to be like that. And I'm not saying that some comics, sure, I would love it. Like for instance, only matter of fact, I will give my remake list. One movie I would love to see remade and actually in the rated R is Spawn. I would love to either see a Spawn movie or a Spawn Netflix series or something like that. Because I
It
think
deserves a series.
yeah. I remember rewatching the Spawn cartoon when I finally became an adult, was able to watch it. I enjoyed it. You know.
Yep, because it used to come on HBO.
Yeah.
Yep.
And unfortunately, my father wanted to be responsible and told me I couldn't watch it. But anyways, that's another story. But,
No, I'm watching this.
yeah, I mean, I would love to
Yeah,
see that. I would love to see a good Starship Troopers sequel. I will, even
I
though
I think that deserves a remake.
Yeah.
and they're considering it. Some people are considering remaking it like more aligned with the book, which may be hit or miss because it's super political. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that works out. But the actual hold up. The actual mobile infantry is more badass there because they all have power armored suit with like all kind of stuff. So
They are Iron Man.
pretty much like one mobile infantry soldier is basically a battle tank by themselves. And so that would be cool to see on screen, but but
Yeah.
They're
don't
a
give
Halo Scorpion tank, is what
yeah,
they are.
yeah. But don't give me another Batman movie, which okay, fine, whatever.
I mean, as much as I love Batman, at some point you just gotta let it go.
Yeah, I mean, how many times can we kill Martha and Thomas Wayne? They have been killed on screen more than Uncle Ben. Those three people, gotta give them a rest, man. Stop murdering them on screen.
Let
Yep.
it go.
And see, that's the thing. It was like at some point it was the same thing with Spider-Man movies. How many times did we get a remake of the same story with a different actor, and then we just got tired of it? It was like some people kind of expected the same thing to happen with Tom Holland, but then they said, no, we're going completely different with this. We're starting fresh. He's young. We have someone that we can have grow into this character. Also, even if we did this for the next 10 years, 15 years, we have a Spider Man that will grow into that. They had that ability. It actually turned out to be a good idea. And then them partnering with Marvel and Disney on it to actually make it work like it should have in the first place. Things like that tend to work. It all kind of boils down to what the actual plan is for this. What's the long game? Not what's the cash grab. Because if you go for the cash grab, you're gonna get the cash grab. It's gonna bomb, and then that it's gonna jump right off a cliff.
Yeah, you
At
end up
that
with
point, your money's gone because now it only lasted for 3 months.
yeah, you end up with a fan four stick.
Oh, call that shit back.
You know what? Granted. That's another one I'll add. I would love to see an actual good Fantastic Four film, and maybe
I'm waiting.
maybe it's not adaptable to film. Maybe it's too goofy.
No,
You don't think?
Shazam is what is Shazam?
We don't talk about. Well, okay, yeah. I thought you was talking about.
It was
Shaq.
successful. No. That's Kazam.
Kazam, you're right. That's right. My fault.
Yeah, we gonna. I I love it. You know what? I think you asked me this the other day. That's my guilty movie right there. Kazam.
Shazam.
Kazam, Media Man. You know what?
You know what? I give
Kazam,
you. Uh-huh.
Media Man, Blank Man.
I
All
get,
three of them. Give me
you know.
all of
You know
them.
what? I actually did watch Meteor Man, and I do have a soft spot for man. Meteor Man was there for the people, man. He was trying to clean
Right.
up his streets.
See,
So there you go.
Blank Man
It.
was
Same thing with
Blank
Blank
Man was
Man.
just right. He wanted
Hold
to do
up.
good by his people. He was from the hood, from the bottom.
Okay, last question that I have to ask is how come all our black superheroes that we did have were the ones cleaning up local hoodlums and drug rings? You notice that?
Always the case, man. Always, or like in Harlem or something.
Yeah.
Or the middle of L.A. Always. I don't. Hey, it's look. Hold on. I'm gonna tell y'all this. So Tyler Perry made a good point. If you hadn't watched hashtag Black AF
Uh-huh.
yet, please take the time and do it. It's funny. Like I like Blackish. I like Grownish. I ain't gonna lie. Like some of the way that they do that storytelling in that, like I love him for that.
Yeah.
And now that he's doing that same show,
He
basically
pretty much-
his
that's
perspective
what he
to
said.
himself,
Yeah.
it is hilarious. But the thing about it was he got to a point where he had this low moment. I'm gonna tell you about this one episode.
Okay.
I ain't gonna tell you about the rest of it. You just gotta watch it. I'm telling you, if you need something to laugh at, you ain't gonna think you're gonna laugh at it because it looks too cheesy, but it's legit funny. What he does was he ended up having this moment in his life where he thinks he's being viewed as a sellout because he doesn't like this particular piece of work that somebody else put out,
Mhm.
but everybody else loves it. People are raving about it. He was like, man, do you not understand this is making us look bad as a people and all this other stuff? He thought he wasn't black enough because of it. Because it was like all these other black people like it. Was like, why don't I like this? I think I should like this. His oldest daughter, or his second oldest daughter, feels the same way. She can't stand it. She hates it. And they got all these people around him for it. Well, he ends up going to talk to Tyler Perry, the the man of blackness. Everybody loves him. We want some more Medea. We gotta have Medea. Give us more Medea.
You know what? Tyler
But
Perry makes great comedies.
look, but this is the thing. This is what he said though, and I didn't give Tyler Perry credit for it until I heard it. Then Tyler Perry said it was like people ask me all the time. He was like, "Man, like Medea ain't gonna never win a Grammy or an Oscar." He was like, "Man, why you making stuff like this? Man, all this stuff kind of make us look bad." He was like, "It was like all these white folks thinking about like how it looks when we try to do this and try to do that, and we can never get ahead." He was like, "I don't care what these white people think." He was like, "You know why this is successful with black people? Because I'm telling stuff that black people will like and will respond to." He was like that stuff. He was like, "I did that for us." He was like, "You see the numbers that I make? It's our numbers. It is us really talking about us going to movies, about us watching this at home." He was like, all this that I'm doing is a part of that." He was like, but people don't understand that and they don't want to see that because when they get to thinking about what they're good for other folks instead of us, we had to do the same thing with uh Van Peebles,
Oh,
Mario
yeah.
Van
Mario
Peebles,
Van
and
Peebles.
Mario Van Peebles. Yes, telling that story like all those cowboys, like that cowboy story. I forgot the name of the movie,
Yeah, I remember
but
what you're talking about though.
But yeah, we talked about that. Like, think about that. It was like you had to show those type of like, and his dad's day, like he had to show those movies out of porn houses in order to get those movies out there for us, for our own
Yeah.
people. It was like Tyler Perry is essentially the same thing. You might not like it after a while, but
Right.
guess what?
After a while.
Overall, as a people, the majority of people do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It was like he's putting up these massive numbers with this, and I ain't gonna lie, we hate on him at times. It was like, man, I'm tired of seeing. If I see another damn Medea movie, I'm boycotting somebody.
Hey
I
man,
will stick my eyeballs out. I'm sorry.
I remember we used to joke and say, "Hey man, the only thing Medea can do next is go to the moon. Medea in space. That's it. Medea."
But look,
is like,
now you got another nigga in space.
hey,
We're gonna leave that one alone too.
I'm just
So
saying.
once you go to space, you almost can end your career right then. Just
Yeah,
I made it to space.
that's
All
like.
right, now this is the end of your career.
I mean, it was funny
Sorry.
because I tell people this. I respect Tyler Perry. I do. I respect everything he has done. Is he a
I'm gonna say
great?
this. I'm gonna give you this last point too,
Okay,
and
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say this because I didn't give him credit for this too. That studio that he has, and how many movie companies are using his studio in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Marvel has used his studio.
Yep. Black Panther.
Black Panther on his Air Force base that he turned into a studio.
No, a plantation. He turned into a studio.
I thought it was both
Man,
because you
maybe.
had a lot of. Hey, you know what? We're gonna say it's both because all of it was slavery at this
Hey,
point,
you're
and they
right.
all did it.
And
So
so,
yes, it was an Air Force base that was once a plantation. So if that ain't the official story, that's a story that you heard from me, and you can take me
there
to
you,
the bank on.
there you go. Look it up yourself. But I
Right.
remember because I did an episode on one of my old my other podcasts, and we had talked about the last movie he had put out, A Fall from Grace. And
Okay. Okay.
and look, I tell people this. I said, if anything is very entertaining, if it's one of those movies, if you're with a group, either you with your gal or a couple people, and you got some beer or some alcohol or whatever, it's very entertaining. Because it's just, I told people this. I said, you know what? I started looking at Tyler Perry's work as parodies versus actual things. Like these are caricatures of what someone who isn't us would think. That's what we do, And I said that's how I have to look at it to enjoy it. Because other than that, no character would do this. What do you do? Like,
You're right.
I'm just saying.
You're right.
You can't. and so that's how I had to enjoy his films from here on out.
Yep.
Was this good as it was to me?
Do what?
Oh man, I'm sorry. Woo! Oh man.
But
I just saw nothing but enjoyment, man. In your face.
oh yeah.
Oh man.
Well.
I'm surprised he ain't go blank on that one though.
I'm gonna give y'all this last name that that I found. We were talking about nostalgia and everything else, and remakes and things that shouldn't been done. But did y'all? How much would you pay for a collectible? Like if that was a collectible that you wanted, what you dropping? Let's say you got the money.
Okay.
And you can buy anything that you wanted. Johnny, I'm pretty sure it's Jimi Hendrix's guitar for you, so.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I don't know because I'm too cheap to come with a number. I guess that's.
Let's say you had it. Inhibitions, just let them go. Like, I got it. And you know what? That'll be the coolest thing ever that I would ever own. That's the only thing that I splurge on. I'm tight with the rest of my money. I ain't driving no Bentley. I drive a Corolla, but the Bentleys can stay.
What would I buy like just as a collectible? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. James, go ahead. What would you get? Because I'm trying to think on this one.
Me, I think one or two things. One might be like one of the original Optimus Prime big rig.
Oh, okay. The toys.
Yeah, that or Voltron,
Definitely
like
Voltron. I
Mick.
feel that.
So like something like that, like Mick Edition, something like that, like one of the actual figures itself. Um, that or I would say it will probably be a comic book. Like one of my favorite characters is Wolverine. So like one of his original comics where he had the basically almost the Cyclops whole head
Oh
covering
yeah. He had
with the full mask on and everything with the blue and yellow.
because matter of fact,
He ain't had no points on it or anything like that.
that
I
was
think that
fun.
was back in like '60s.
Yeah, I think the first comic he ever appeared in was the Incredible Hulk. Actually,
Yeah, I
he
think
was
it's
actually a
yeah.
villain. I would actually buy probably one of the original lightsabers. And
Okay.
I actually see a lot of people make great replicas. I've seen them, and I was like, damn, I just don't feel like spending $300 or a plus for it. Like, they're nice, but not that nice. And
Hey, find you one good one, get you one for your birthday or for Christmas,
there you go.
and let that be it. Like, hey, this is my only thing I'm gonna ever do for myself until next year.
You're right. That or I think they're considered collectibles, like one of the original McFarlane Toys Spawn figures.
Yes, they're like the 1/4 scale,
Mm-hmm.
the 100 scale, yeah, 1 to 100, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the first figures because as a kid, they don't ever tell you certain things are collectibles and not to be played with,
Uh
while
huh.
other toys are actually to be played with. And
Yeah,
like McFarlane toys, when you look at them, you're like, damn, they're so detailed.
they are not to be played with.
They're
They
not to
are
be
there to
played
be
with though.
displayed. They're there to be displayed. And McFarlane did some great Batman work. He did some
Yeah.
great Spider-Man work.
But
And like,
when he
I
originally
want
with
that
Marvel?
one picture. He was at one point. So Spider-Man is the reason why he has those big eyes that he does right now.
Okay.
Because if you look at Spawn and Spider-Man and how big their eyes actually are, the reason why Spider-Man has those big animated eyes is because of Spawn.
Okay.
Because of Todd McFarlane.
Oh, they also got Cyberpunk as well.
Oh, he did Cyberpunk too, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
He did some of that figure. He did some of the figures for them. He does some He does some Mortal Kombat ones too.
Yeah, I know
The
he
reason
does.
why I asked y'all this question.
Okay.
The reason why I asked y'all this question. So they had an original copy of Super Mario Brothers, and the original packaging that auctioned for $114,000.
That sounds about right.
What would you do with 114,000 of them things?
Put it. Find an investment opportunity. Put the rest in the bank. The most boring stuff ever.
Somebody spent $114,000
There is
on an original packaging. Also, now this is the kicker.
Mhm.
Nintendo verified the packaging for it and identified exactly when it was manufactured.
Wow.
What 1985?
It was like 80 something. I forgot what it said in the link. Essentially, what they determined was that was the first time that Nintendo had started using shrink wrap for their gaming, for their cartridges. Before it was a sticker.
Ah, okay.
So you remember the Nintendo stamp that they would put on there? And that
Yeah.
was one of the stickers they would put on it.
The stamp of
The gold
approval.
seal.
Yep, it was the Nintendo seal of approval.
Yep.
Official. So they started using the shrink wrap at that point. So they basically aged it out at about a certain period when they actually started the shrink wrap because it actually had the cardboard covering and the plastic on it still.
Yeah. Hey man, it's nothing. That's not unheard of that original print games or hard copy games go for
For
a great
that much
amount of
money.
money. Yeah, that's especially
Yeah.
NES or SNES games or I even heard of like some PS, like what game was expensive? Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for PS2 because they only had so many print. That was towards the part before Capcom lost the license rights to Marvel characters, so they only made so many. And if you have one, you can sell it for like close to $500. So, and yeah, man,
That's insane.
mm-hmm.
They say that same version of that game last year went for $100,000, and that was considered mint condition. This year, a year later, it went up to 114 because there's got to be a level over mint condition because it sold for 114 this year. It went up by $14,000 in a year.
Wow.
So, I mean, and that's the highest that any cartridge. That's the highest that any single game has sold. Because they did have the Nintendo PlayStation before Sony branched. They had the Nintendo PlayStation that sold for $360,000 for the console.
Yep.
At that same auction.
That's insane.
What about the what is that? The N64 DD. I wonder if you can actually. A lot of people don't know about that either. Where it was.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
I didn't.
Yeah.
DD.
Yeah. So the N64 at one point was going to have a disk drive that you can attach to the bottom part of the N64 to basically help with RAM and different games that are coming out. But I think it only sold in Japan and it never made it to the States.
You know what? I did see that.
A magnetic disk drive or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of old.
I didn't know it was called the N64 DD.
Yeah.
I do remember it being an attachment.
Man, there's a YouTube channel.
I think I saw it in Nintendo Power once.
And I can't think of the name of the name of it, otherwise I'll plug the guy. But he covers like consoles like that I've never heard of, and I would say I'm pretty decent about my consoles, but just weird, just off the wall consoles that may have not necessarily have made it to the States. I gotta find it, man. I'll drop you guys a link, but it's actually pretty interesting. That's what I heard. That's where I heard of that particular one from. Yeah. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame it didn't take off the way it did.
Yeah. It's kind of like the MSX that never made it to the States, but was in Europe and Japan. Like a lot of people didn't have that.
Didn't hear about that one.
The Atari was at the first 16-bit game was the TurboGrafx or the Super Graphics.
Yep.
So yeah, hey, we can get on some consoles, but I guess we're running tight on time. So James, Johnny, y'all want to go ahead and plug anything coming up? Any socials? Man, and even give out the social of the podcast too on Twitter and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, right now not a whole lot coming up. Try to figure out some other things that we can start working out on with this podcast. But if anybody has any suggestions for anything, or if y'all want to send us any information, send us any articles that interest you guys, we can kind of get into also. Just send us an email at blurredconfidential@gmail.com. DM us at Blurred World Order at Twitter. Yeah, and we do have a Facebook page, I believe, coming up, or we might already have up. But yeah, hit us up and just put everything. You got any suggestions, any ideas? If you draw, put anything in, whatever you want to do. We love to hear from everybody, kind of get feedback about what we're doing and what we can be doing or what we need to improve on. I think we're in tune enough to take some criticism.
Hell no.
What about you,
Game
Johnny?
banging over cornbread.
What about you, Johnny? Also, make sure to plug your YouTube channel and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah, Stalker Actual Gaming, and just to reiterate, the page, the Blurred Confidential Facebook page is indeed up. So feel free to shoot us a message. Let us know that you're alive and all that fun stuff. And Yeah, y'all just stay safe out there, man. This is crazy. Try not to beat any bus drivers up, and other than that, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. All right, man.
Shout out to the Blue Mastodon for the logo, also.
Yeah, heck
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
No doubt.
Oh,
No doubt.
yeah, shout out to Blue Mastodon, man. When I tell you you came in on time, you were right on time.
I appreciate it. And let me tell you
Woo.
this. I ain't gonna give you a government name because you ain't gave me the clearance on that one yet. But yeah, we're gonna give them the other one. So
There
appreciate
was
that, Blue
pro-
Mastodon.
All
there was
right.
probably a sniper with a beating through your window now, James, and just takes your
That's fine. You know what? Just let me eat first. Let
word.
me get my last meal.
The last egg
The
roll
last
is. Let me get
one.
the last egg roll.
Oh
I
man.
think they owe me that one.
Oh man. But all right, other than that, it's been real. It was fun, fellas. And I guess other than that, I guess we about, yo.
Yeah, maybe I go ahead and get my PlayStation controller working, and I can be out too.
Yeah, no, man. He on. Never mind. We ain't gonna talk about it. He out of commission right now.
Hey,
But
look, I'm struggling around here.
anybody want to donate a PS4 controller to my man James? Go ahead, just hit us up at the blurryconfidential@gmail.com.
Yeah, you go ahead and drop a Visa gift card in there for $5 if you want.
Yeah, man.
Whatever you want to do, Amazon, hey, it's
Amazon,
fitting the same. But
Cash App.
I appreciate it.
you know,
Yeah, go ahead and drop a cash app at King James 357. So it's the $ King James 357. It's all one thing. You go
yeah,
ahead and drop it in there if you like. I appreciate it.
yeah. Hit
I
up his
love you
own,
the same.
and hit up his OnlyFans page too. Give
Yeah,
him a tip.
only fans for only feet, only footses. You got to go ahead and get in the footses. I I'm I'm a lotion the feet. I'm a oil the feet. I'm a wash the feet. Somebody gonna manicure the toes. I ain't gonna be able to do all this, but somebody gonna do the toes.
Joe's
So there
Barber.
will be some foot play and some toe play if you all into
Hey,
OnlyFans.
know what I mean? Peace,
Pay
folks.
this rent.